Good afternoon out there, shopkeepers and do-it-yourselfers. They were working on a 1969 Ford LTD. Got the big 390 V8 in it. And the ignition is not functioning, so it won't start. Cranks over, but it won't start. The points are burned up. You young fellers out there that don't know, these are points. This completes the ground path, kind of like what your crank sensor does on your modern vehicle. But you can see this is, try to get this to focus in. This piece right here, kind of a yellow piece, is a plastic, kind of like a cam follower, that causes your points to open and close. When they're open, there is no ground path, and when they're closed, there is a ground path. But there's power going through here, through this wire, the wire that connects there. There's power going through here, and jumpers across from here to ground, and that's what causes your ignition coil to fire. And because there's power there, if the points are closed, then there's constant power running through your coil and through your points, and these will get hot, and you'll see that that's melted. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There you go. So that's not a batch of grease there. That's the points are melted. If the key stays on, you got power going to your coil and it goes through here. But if the points are open, there's no path, there's no ground path, so there's no harm. But if it stops, if the engine is stopped with the points closed, there's a ground path, and then you've got a load on the circuit, and these points will get hot, and that's why they burn up. But you can see that your distributor shaft, as the engine rotates, this shaft has got, it's like 8 points on it. For each number of cylinders, if you got a 6-cylinder, you got four points. If you got a 4-cylinder, you got 4 points. If you got eight cylinder, which we have, we've got 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And as the engine cranks over, that high point, pushes the points open. I'm trying to look at the viewfinder on my camera, and I really can't. There you go. See, it'll push the points open, and when it comes to the flat spot, then the points will be closed. So to set it, you just slightly loosen that screw, and move this top end forward or inward, depending on whether you need to close them up or open them up. Retighten that screw and that one, and you're good to go. And you should have a little dab of grease on this cam to lubricate for this cam follower, this plastic piece. But anyway, these are supposed to set, according to what information I found online, about 17 thousandths. And I've got a feeler gauge that I put in there, but I've only got an 18 thousandths gauge, so I set it just a hair tight. And let me get the wire on it, and we'll show you some more stuff. I've got my test light hooked to battery positive. So when I put my test light to anything metal that's grounded, I'm going to get a signal. So the first thing you want to do is check and make sure that your distributor housing is grounded. If it's not grounded, your ignition is not going to work. And you'll see in there, because this top plate moves, with the advance, this is a vacuum advance, because this top plate moves, it needs to have a ground wire attached to it from the base of the distributor to this top plate, so your points will work. So if you got a ground there, you know that you're going to be good. And the points presently, we're at a high point, so our points should not have a ground path on them. And when I bump the engine over, let's see, I'll put this, if I can, okay, let's see. Well, I lost my, well, crap. Okay, I bumped it over. See, now we're down on a flat spot. You see, I got a ground path on the points. Not just the points base, but the points themselves. See? And when I go back around to the high point, I'm going to lose that signal. It's going to break. Well, let's see. Try and hold this like that, and crank that over. You see the light blinking? That's because that that cam is spinning around and opening and closing those points. So that's what you call tax signal. So one of these wires goes to that condenser, and the other wire goes around and goes to the ground side of your coil. That's what breaks it and makes that coil emit that spark. Anyway, fellas, that's how you do that. Thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe. Comment if you will.